My name is Denny Ellis, but my tag, like a DJ would be, is VJ Cause and Effects. And what I do is I'm a video artist and a photographer. I suppose what I should really explain first of all is that a VJ is like a DJ, and that stands for like disc jockey, video jockey. So I mix visuals to screen, to live music, or I'll create a mix in my studio with music that I've put together and visuals that I've put together. There's two different formats of, well, for me there's two different ways of being a video artist. One is where you do take, like a DJ does, other people's work and mix it, or like a producer with music would do, is to create the music and then mix the music as a DJ. So I guess I'm the latter of the two. I don't work with other people's material. I create all my own source material and mix that to screen. How did I become a VJ? That's a really, really hard question to answer, because it's been it's not a simple clear-cut answer. It's been a progression, and I guess I started photography about 17 years ago. I've been a performer since I was 3. I studied in ballet and dance, and from 3 years onwards, and then became a professional dancer for quite a while until my back gave way, and then I got into the production of theatre and production and facilitating workshops, facilitating events, creating visuals, but not visual visuals, stage sets and things like that. And so I've sort of like dabbled in all different forms of performance and theatre and art, but not art as in painting, as in dancing, in movement, Butoh, all different styles of dance, and fire dancing, fire circus, clowning, miming, all different forms. And then what sort of like grew from all of that with the photography as well, and then my back going slowly, I sort of like mixed into wanting to be able to, when I was putting on an event, have visuals on a screen that would be integrated with the music, with the band and with the dance, so that then what was on a stage was completely holistic. It was all in one. It was nothing fragmented. Everything was, I'm trying to find a simple word, but cohesive. I just wanted to see it all come together, and so I started dreaming of screens and learning how to work a video camera. And back in the 90s, I guess it was, I didn't have a video camera, I just had a stills camera. So what I ended up doing was, I was very lucky to be working at this very large event in Australia called the Woodford Folk Festival. And it's sort of like my playground really, and I started producing the visuals at a place called the Amphitheatre Stage, which Woodford's like our Glastonbury. There's 25 stages, around 25 stages, and there's over 120,000 people come there, 700 acts. And the stage that I was lucky to work on, it was a natural amphitheatre that seated around 50,000, between 50 and 80,000 people, and it was humongous, and it's outdoor, open, most amazing space. And I pushed and put applications forward to create visuals onto screens. But back then it was all great big VCRs and great big old computers, and everything was big and heavy and chunky, and I took a broadcast quality camera and put it on a tripod like in a chemist lab at school, and stuck it down, and manually, with my still images, with my photographs, I had shoe boxes full of thousands of photos, and I had an old mixing desk that I'd take a still image, a photograph, lay it down in this frame thing that I'd made, which was black around it, and then I'd fade in and fade out. So I'd literally fade in and fade out from one photograph to another. That would be one source. And then on videotape, I would have still images that I'd made a slideshow and filmed and recorded onto the videotape, and then I'd integrate the two together so that I was weaving imagery through. And I had a camera crew that filmed the bands or the performers, and their feed would come out to me, and then that would all be mushed together by me, and then I'd stick it out onto these screens. And so basically I guess what you end up doing is manifesting your dreams. If you start dreaming things, if you start imagining things, then you can manifest them. But you have to identify what your dreams are, or what your creative imagination, you know, can muster up. Then once you've got a hold on that, then you can make it happen. Like the mix that I've been doing recently, I didn't know what that was going to be. For 2 years I've been, well, 1.5 years I've been photographing and filming the hills and everything around Malvern. I didn't know what it was I was going to do, but then all of a sudden the project came about, and all of the source materials, you know, been invaluable, and I've been able to add to it. So I don't know, how did it all happen? I guess it's just all been a natural progression of one step to the next thing. It's just life. It's just my life. You know what's really interesting? I never went to university because I'm dyslexic, and also because I was too busy dancing, performing, acting. You know, I was too busy in it to ever have time to go and do it. And in retrospect, I actually really do now feel like doing an MA or something like that, only because I haven't been in that environment, but I've known so many people that have been through it, who come out the other end, I'm so sorry to say this, but slightly disillusioned, just because they feel like they've maybe been put into a box that they didn't necessarily want to be put into, and they've been fed a way to look at things that they possibly didn't want, you know. And when you're fed away and you don't find your own way, then there's a mould that's created, and you become a part of a mould, you know. That whereas if you don't go into the mould, you always feel totally inadequate. I've always felt completely inadequate and a bit of a fraud, really, because I don't have that piece of paper that qualifies me for. But I know how to work my camera, and I do everything on a need-to-know basis, and I have to because I run a business, and it's really hard, you know. It's running a business. I only probably get 20% of my time is being creative. The rest of it is being a business manager, a promoter, an accountant. You know, it's so many other things than what it is that I do it all for. But I wouldn't be able to even do that 20% if I didn't do all the rest. So I do all the rest, and I'm work obsessive. The one thing about university, I guess, that is a total bonus is I'd go there really young, and I wouldn't listen to anyone, which is probably not really the best thing to say, but I'd go there to use the kit. That's what I'd use university for, is to learn kit and utilise it as much as possible, and just be in there all the time and play, you know, like a playground, and speak to as many people as possible outside of, you know, those that are giving you direction, really, because that way then you can expand. I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, you say, I don't know, I teach I teach at universities now, which is quite bizarre because I don't have any qualifications to do so except for my experience, you know, and I guess that then gives me the ability to go in there and give my experience without being moulded. And if universities are then doing that, then hopefully imaginations will be able to be sort of like nurtured and allowed to go that way instead of that way. Yeah. So if you were to go to university, that's what I'd use it for, as a tool. If you chose not to, then I'd find a mentor. It's always brilliant to have someone that knows more than you. I've always done it. Mentors are fantastic. I mentor people now, and it's great. I love it.